really gets me fired up about this next chapter for the Chicago Bears is the combination of Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. That pairing has the potential to define this franchise for the next decade or more if it works, and let's be honest, in today's NFL, your odds of sustained success go way up when your head coach is not only an offensive mind, but the actual play caller. That's where the real advantage lies. When your quarterback doesn't have to learn a brand new system every other season, when he can build year over year in the same offense, with the same terminology and in the same rhythm, that's when things start to click. That's when you move from rebuilding to contending. And that's the exact opportunity Caleb has now. He's not stepping into chaos. He's walking into a situation where the foundation is already being set around him. And yes, there are still unknowns. We don't know exactly what kind of head coach Ben Johnson will be. We've seen what he can do as a coordinator. What he did with Jared Goff in Detroit was no small feat. He elevated Goff's game to levels that, frankly, most people thought weren't possible after his last couple seasons with the Rams. But as a head coach, that's a different ball game. Still, the offensive IQ, the creativity, the leadership, those aren't just coach speak with Johnson. They've shown up consistently in his work. And for Caleb, this is exactly the kind of situation you want to land in as a young quarterback. Stability, vision, continuity, and not just in terms of scheme, but in having a coach who's directly tied to your development. You look around the league and the proof is there. The most consistent quarterback play almost always comes from these long-term head coach-quarterback duos, where the coach is hands-on with the offense. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford, Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy, Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow, Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa. That's not a coincidence. It's a blueprint. These quarterbacks aren't learning new offenses every year. They're refining. They're mastering. And that makes a huge difference. When you've got a quarterback who's not spending every offseason memorizing a new playbook, he can focus on mechanics, timing, anticipation. He can actually evolve. He's not just surviving, he's thriving. You hear a guy like Peyton Manning talk about it. He always emphasizes how valuable it is to speak the same offensive language year after year. That kind of familiarity creates confidence, and that confidence unlocks performance. You don't think twice, you react. You know where your receivers are going to be. You understand how your coach thinks. It becomes instinctive. That's where the magic happens. And look, it's not just about keeping things the same for the sake of comfort. It's about building something that can grow together. Ben Johnson isn't coming in with some one-size-fits-all playbook. He's already said this offense is being built around Caleb's strengths, his mobility, his ability to extend plays, his creativity outside the pocket. These are things Johnson hasn't had in a quarterback before. Jared Goff isn't that type of player. He's a pocket passer, a timing guy. With Caleb, the ceiling is different. There's a new dimension to the offense now, and Johnson is smart enough to adapt. He's already thinking ahead, drawing up wrinkles we didn't see in Detroit, tailoring this system to make the most of what Caleb brings to the table. And that's what gives you hope if you're a Bears fan, because let's be honest, the last 5 years have been tough to watch. Most of the big offensive plays we've seen came from broken situations. Justin Fields making something out of nothing with his legs. Some backyard football moments that were fun in the moment, but unsustainable over time. That's not how you build a real contender. You need structure. You need rhythm. You need execution. You need an offense that can win with timing and design, not just desperation. That's what this new pairing could finally deliver. Now, obviously, it's not guaranteed. Nothing in the NFL ever is. There's a world where it doesn't click. Maybe the responsibilities of being a full-time head coach stretch Johnson thin. Maybe Caleb doesn't progress the way people hope. Maybe injuries derail it all. We've seen those stories too. But the thing is, the percentages lean in their favor. If you look across the league right now, there are around 9 returning head coach quarterback combinations where the coach calls plays. And in about 6 or 7 of those, you feel pretty solid. In 4 of them, you feel great. That's a strong hit rate. That's reason to believe that if you get the coach right and the quarterback right and you align them from the beginning, you give yourself a real shot. And when Peyton Manning starts talking about how important that connection is, you listen, because he's lived it. When he came into the league, he had to fight through those early years of inconsistency. The Colts were bad. He made mistakes. He threw a lot of interceptions. But once the right pieces were around him, once Tony Dungy took over and Jim Caldwell became his quarterback's coach, that's when it really clicked. That's when he became the Hall of Famer we remember, and Dungy wasn't even an offensive coach. But he brought that steady presence. He believed in Peyton, gave him room to grow, and put the right people around him. That's what the Bears are trying to do now. Ben Johnson is the offensive brain. JT Barrett is there to relate to Caleb on a player level, and guys like Declan Doyle. This young mind that's getting a lot of internal buzz, they're all part of this larger effort to build something that lasts. And here's another layer to this. Johnson chose this job. He had other offers. He could have taken a team with a more established roster, a more proven quarterback, maybe even more immediate expectations. But he saw something in this Bears situation. He saw potential in Caleb Williams, and he saw an opportunity to stay in the NFC North, compete against his old boss Dan Campbell, and try to build something special in Chicago. That says a lot. That's not just about taking a job, it's about taking on a challenge. Because you believe in the people involved. And yeah, it's not going to be perfect right away. No one should expect a Super Bowl in year one. That's not how this usually works. Peyton Manning wasn't a playoff quarterback in year one. Joe Burrow had growing pains before things took off in Cincinnati. Even Mahomes sat a full season before exploding in his second year. These things take time. But can the Bears be better than last year? Can the offense actually look like it has a plan? Can you see real development from Caleb week after week? Absolutely, and that's what you build on. The big picture is this: the Bears have never had a true long-term franchise quarterback. In the modern era, they've had flashes, moments, but never sustained success at the position. This might be their shot. This might be the combination that finally changes the narrative, and it starts with structure. With a coach who knows how to build around his quarterback, with a quarterback who has all the tools if he's developed the right way, with an organization that finally decided to go all in on pairing those two things at the same time. So when I look at the landscape of the NFL right now, and I think about the teams that are consistently competitive year in and year out, it's always the ones with that head coach quarterback stability. You can rotate receivers, you can draft new linemen, you can tweak your defense. But if the core is strong, if the coach and quarterback are in sync, you've got a shot every year. And right now, the Bears might finally have that. That's why this matters. That's why Bears fans are excited. That's why people around the league are watching. Because if this hits, if Caleb lives up to the hype and Johnson proves he can lead, this isn't just a fun story. It's a franchise-altering shift. It's a moment you look back on in 10 years and say, yeah, that's when it all changed. That's when the Bears stopped being the team known for defense and inconsistency at quarterback, and became something else entirely. And sure, there are going to be bumps along the way. Caleb is still learning. He's still going to make mistakes. Johnson's going to face new challenges in this bigger role, but the pieces are in place. The vision is clear. And for the first time in a long time, the Bears aren't just hoping something works, they're building toward something. That actually makes sense when you look at the Chicago Bears today. It's impossible to ignore the reality that this franchise has been searching for its identity for quite some time. The past several seasons have been a roller coaster of hope and disappointment, as they cycled through quarterbacks, coaches, and front office changes without settling on a clear path forward. But that's what makes this moment so critical. It's not just about the new head coach or the shiny rookie quarterback. It's about whether the entire organization has learned from its past mistakes and is finally ready to commit to a long-term vision. Because talent alone never wins in the NFL. Systems, culture, and patience are what build winners. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy, drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Could the Windy City be preparing for a defensive storm? Word around the league is heating up with whispers that star pass rusher T.J. Watt might be on his way to the Chicago Bears via a blockbuster trade. While nothing has been confirmed by either side, sources close to this situation suggest conversations may be underway, sparking excitement and skepticism across both fan bases. The idea of Watt suiting up in navy and orange has sent shockwaves through NFL circles, known for his relentless motor, leadership, and ability to change the game in a single play. The Pittsburgh Steelers' all-pro linebacker has long been a cornerstone of their defense. But with the Steelers looking to potentially retool and the Bears aggressively rebuilding under head coach Matt Eberflus, the stars could be aligning for a seismic move. Bears GM Ryan Poles has shown he's not afraid to make bold decisions, and adding Watt would instantly boost a defense that has shown promise. but still lacks a consistent pass rushing threat. Paired with rising talents like Montez Sweat and a revamped secondary, one could transform the Bears into one of the most feared defenses in the league. A throwback to the monsters of the Midway identity, of course. The move would not come cheap. The Steelers would likely demand a hefty return, possibly including a combination of early draft picks and young talent. Still, if the Bears believe they're on the cusp of contention in a wide open NFC North, a player like Watt might be the final piece. For now, it's all speculation. But in the NFL, where smoke often leads to fire, this is one rumor worth watching closely. Could Soldier Field be Watt's new hunting ground? Time will tell. But don't be surprised if Chicago becomes the epicenter of the league's next major shakeup. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.